Hey everyone, it's Rachel from Sugar Maple Farmhouse, and today we're going to make a bourbon and steak mushroom pasta. So I thought up this recipe about a year ago, and I didn't have any real steak and pasta recipes at the time, which is kind of weird to actually think about. But this was something I was just kind of craving. My family really loved it, and I wanted to share it with you today. I am using some sirloin steak here today, so that's going to go in. We're going to cook everything in this one cast iron pan. I'll show you how I do that. I have already started, the noodles are actually done already back there, and I'll explain why as we get going, but overall, this recipe will take you only about 20 minutes to make. So it's a huge bonus. Plus, it is kind of a nicer recipe, so if you have friends coming over, if you're hosting a party, this is definitely something you can make. If you have an anniversary, this is a great recipe for that too. We like to make it on just Sunday nights if we're in the mood. So you can really make it anytime. It's just one of those lovely, delicious, and flavorful pasta recipes, and you get the bonus of steak too. Let's get started. All right, so I'm gonna make everything here in my cast iron pan for you guys today. When it is winter, which it is right now, I like to cook steak inside on my cast iron. So that's usually my grill or griddle cast iron kind of slab. But in this case, I am using the cast iron pan because we want to make the pasta in the same pan. So there's a couple of things with the steaks that you should know ahead of time. You can see I've already got mine seasoned here. You want to take these out at least 30 minutes before you do anything else in the recipe. So really about an hour before you start cooking. Then you want to tenderize them if they need to be tenderized. So you want them to be about 1 inch thick. One of these was 2 inches thick, and that is just a little too thick for me to work with, especially when the other one was 1 inch. I really like to be able to keep the steaks cooking at the same time and at the same temperature. So I tenderized one of these to bring it down to about 1 inch also. Then once that was done, you want to make sure everything is patted dry and then put the dry rub seasoning on. So this is a combination of rosemary, thyme, oregano, a couple other things. I don't want to say something wrong. So this is all on the website already where you can get the full dry rub, but I don't want to skip anything or say anything wrong. There's more in there. There's salt, there's garlic salt, there's a couple other things. So that's all been done already. Once you season the steaks, start your pasta because this recipe is going to go fast and you want to make sure that you have the pasta done so it can go into the pan and simmer with everything else for a couple of minutes. So my pasta, I've already got it done back there. You don't have to have it done before you start cooking, but I wanted to make sure I wasn't paying attention to that while we did this today. So I'm first going to start the steaks, and I'm going to put them in here on a medium to high setting. If your steaks are 1 inch thick, about 4 minutes per side will give you a rare to medium rare steak. So we are going to do that today. If you feel like once you are done cooking these and you've cut them and you're ready to put them in pasta and they're a little too not done for you, you can pop them into the pasta, cook them a little bit more along with that, and they'll be fine. So let's go ahead and get these in the pan. Let's turn this down just a little. Put some extra virgin olive oil in there. I'm already smoking really good here. And sizzle on that, and then I'm just gonna slide all of the seasoning into my pan too. All right, my timer just went off. Let's flip these over. I do wish there was a little bit more of a sear on these, but again, I am working on the cooktop, which is not something I'm used to doing when cooking steak, so these will work for the recipe, and I'm sure they'll taste delicious. All right, the timer just went off, so I'm going to take these out of here. They look wonderful. And then I'm going to cover them with tin foil. And they are going to rest while I make the rest of this dish. All right, now with the steaks done, I'm going to add a little more extra virgin olive oil. And then I'm going to add in some shallots. These are going to cook for about 4 minutes until they are translucent and they have softened just a little bit. So you can see I'm scraping some of that char up as I go here, and that is fine. We're gonna hopefully get most of it up through cooking the recipe, and it's gonna add to the flavor of the pasta dish. All right, my shallots look good, so now I'm going to add in some garlic. And there are about 4 cloves of garlic going in here to the pan now with the shallots. I can smell that garlic already. Next, it's very smoky. Next, I'm going to start adding in my mushrooms. So you can use a variety of mushrooms that you like in this recipe. First, I'm adding some baby bellas, which are pretty easy to find, and those will go in now. I'm also going to add some trumpet mushrooms and some oyster mushrooms that I picked up from the store yesterday. Normally, I would add these a little bit later in the recipe, but mine are they're really big, so I'm going to add them in now. Usually I add them into the recipe when I mention adding the more delicate mushrooms into the recipe, but because they are so big, I'm just going to add them now. I think they could benefit from the extra time here cooking. So you really just want to give those a good mix, and then you can put in the butter. So in goes our butter. And we're going to get that melting in there with the mushrooms, the shallots, and the garlic. You really only need to give the mushrooms 2 minutes once the butter melts, and now it is time to add the bourbon. So I'm going to turn this off. When I'm working on the stove, I will turn the stove off for this step so that I do not set my pan on fire. So I always do that. I don't know if it'll react the same way here on the cooktop, but I turned it off anyways. So now I'm adding a 1/4 cup of bourbon to the mix. And I'm going to really go in here now and scrape those black bits. Just make sure there's nothing left kind of stuck to the bottom of the pan as the bourbon reduces. You want the bourbon to reduce to a little less than half, which it has, So now it's time to add the other ingredients. Okay, now everything's gonna go in pretty much all at once here. So we have heavy cream going in first. Then we have a little balsamic, Worcestershire sauce, and some Dijon mustard. I also like to add in some fresh thyme now. So we're gonna pop that right in the pan and mix it in with everything else. So this needs about 4 minutes to simmer together, and then we'll add the final ingredients and cut the steak. I like to stir this lightly while it's simmering every now and then. You don't have to watch it too closely, and it is just 4 minutes. Something that I really love about this pasta is that it has a sweetness to it, like a savory sweetness. It's definitely not like a fruit sweetness, it's just a nice savory kind of sweetness that comes from the Dijon, the bourbon. There is some tarragon in the steak seasoning, and all of that just creates such a lovely flavor mixed with the heavy cream and the mushrooms and the fresh thyme. It just is a really, really beautiful dish. This has been 4 minutes. I think before we go any further, I'm going to taste it. It's very good. I love it so much. I think I'm going to add a little bit of salt. That's really it. So the final ingredients to go in are some Parmesan, and we're going to mix this in so that it melts into the pasta. And then I'm also going to add some fresh parsley. And then I'm going to grab the noodles. Just mix those in gently until they are all nice and covered with the sauce. If you've cooked your pasta to al dente, the noodles can sit in here with the sauce on just a low simmer for a few minutes. If you've cooked it past al dente to where it's very soft, you want to turn off your heat now. All right, let's get the steak cut now. It's rested long enough. And you can see that my wine did bulk up again upon cooking it, which is fine. Looks pretty medium, which is perfect for my kids. And this one is closer to medium rare, definitely, which is how Kevin prefers it. So you can see this one is more of a medium, which my kids will enjoy. And then this one is more of a medium rare to rare that Kevin will enjoy. Okay, now let's put it all together. And I'm going to top it with a little more Parmesan and a little more fresh parsley. Here is what my plate looks like. I went in for a couple of those medium rare pieces and some of the medium pieces, and you can see that lovely sauce in here. It just smells amazing and I cannot wait to dig in. Now let's try this. All right, we're gonna go for a noodle first. Gosh, I just love this sauce. This would be good with chicken too. If you are not a steak person, you can totally make this with chicken. It is just a lovely, savory, semi-sweet sauce that is so creamy, and all the flavors play really well together. Let's add in a mushroom, a bite of steak, and a noodle. Okay, that's a big bite. Okay, here goes. It goes together so well. It's just an incredible dish. The steak, the mushroom, the pasta, it's just a really winning combination. Thank you all for joining me today. I hope that you love learning how to make this steak and mushroom bourbon pasta. If you have any questions or comments, please leave those in the comment section below and I'll be sure to get back to you. Also, there is a full recipe with all the instructions and ingredients up at sugarmaplefarmhouse.com, and I will leave that link for you in the description below. Before you go, if you could hit that subscribe button and follow along with me here, I would love to have you. I cook, I garden, I DIY and craft. I like to keep my hands busy, so if you like to keep your hands busy too, this is the perfect place for you. Thanks so much again, everyone. Have a great day.